On the evening of April 2, 1968, at a small auto repair shop located at the intersection of Tamanbay Street and Khalil Road, directly opposite the St. Mary Church in Zeitoun, two Muslim mechanics were working late. These two humble laborers, perhaps eager to finish their tasks and return home to their families, were diligently repairing an old bus under the dim glow of a light bulb, the sound of metal clanging echoing rhythmically. Suddenly, Ahmed looked up, perhaps to wipe the sweat from his forehead. His gaze unintentionally swept across the dome of the church opposite, and he froze in awe. "Hassan, look!" he shouted, his voice trembling. Hassan quickly dropped his tools and followed Ahmed's gaze. On the dome, a figure of a woman dressed in white, surrounded by a radiant light, was hovering in the air. The light was so intense that it outshone the streetlights, as if a divine halo was emanating from the woman. "That's a nun. She might be in danger," Hassan said worriedly. Both men thought that a nun might be in distress, possibly about to jump from the dome. Out of kindness, Ahmed rushed to the church, banging on the door to alert the priest. "Father, there's someone on the church dome. Please save her," he gasped. Meanwhile, Hassan ran into the street, calling for the police and the nearest rescue team. Little did they know, this spontaneous act would mark the beginning of a sacred chapter, turning Zeitoun into a pilgrimage site for millions. The priest, an elderly Coptic clergyman, was initially skeptical. He thought it might be some neighborhood kids playing a prank. But when he stepped outside and looked up, he fell to his knees, whispering, "Oh, Mother of God!" A crowd began to gather, growing from a few passers-by to hundreds. An old woman, trembling, knelt down and began reciting the Hail Mary. Others started singing hymns, while a few hurriedly grabbed cameras to capture the moment. "Don't jump. Come down slowly," some shouted, still thinking it was a real person. But then they realized, the figure didn't move like a human. She stood still, radiating a gentle light, surrounded by white doves circling around her, a symbol of the Holy Spirit in Christianity. Rumors spread like wildfire. Within hours, the entire Zeitoun area was engulfed in a sea of people. Muslims, who revere the Virgin Mary as Maryam in the Quran, also flocked to the site. "That's Maryam," a Muslim man whispered, his eyes brimming with tears. The police and rescue team arrived, but they quickly realized this was no ordinary incident. There were no lighting devices, no human figure, just a supernatural glow and a presence that sent shivers down everyone's spine. The phenomenon at Zeitoun didn't end that night. For over 2 years, from April 1968 to May 1971, the Virgin Mary is said to have appeared hundreds of times on the church's dome, often at night, sometimes 2 to 3 times a week. Each appearance carried a supernatural beauty. On some nights, she stood still like a living statue, her light radiating like a halo. On others, she moved gently across the dome, as if walking in the air. Some witnesses reported seeing her bow her head in prayer or raise her hands to bless the crowd. White doves often appeared, circling around her, though no one could explain where they came from. The crowds grew larger, with some nights drawing up to 50,000 people, packed tightly beneath the church. It wasn't just Coptic Christians who came. Muslims, Jews, atheists, and tourists from around the world also arrived. The atmosphere during those nights was extraordinary. The sound of prayers mingled with hymns, and eyes looked up in hope. One man shared, "I felt like my heart was melting. Even though I'm not religious, I knew this was something divine." Numerous miracles were reported. A boy born blind claimed he could see light after praying at Zeitoun. A woman with terminal cancer said she was completely healed after spending a night beneath the dome. A soldier who had been paralyzed during the Six-Day War stated he could walk again after visiting Zeitoun. Stories like these spread far and wide, turning the site into a global pilgrimage destination. But not everyone believed right away. Some suggested it was a natural phenomenon, like light refraction or fog. Others suspected the Coptic Church had staged it to gain attention. However, these doubts were quickly dispelled as thousands of people from all religions and backgrounds confirmed the same thing. They had seen the Virgin Mary. As the number of visitors to Zeitoun surged, the Egyptian government could no longer stand on the sidelines. Police were deployed to manage the crowds, while authorities launched an investigation into the strange phenomenon. A team of scientists, engineers, and lighting experts was assembled to seek an explanation. They inspected the dome, analyzed the light, and even searched for hidden lighting devices. But the result was clear. There was no natural explanation. The light emanating from the Virgin Mary's figure was unlike any artificial source available at the time. Egyptian President Gamal Abdel Nasser, one of the most powerful leaders in the Middle East, was also drawn into the event. According to historical records, in late April 1968, Nasser secretly visited Zeitoun, escorted by a team of bodyguards. He stood among the crowd, wearing a hat to avoid recognition, and looked up at the dome. Witnesses said Nasser, a devout Muslim yet a pragmatic man, was visibly moved. He stood in silence for a long time, observing the glowing figure and the white doves. While he never publicly confirmed it as a miracle, Nasser also did not deny the phenomenon. Nasser's presence carried significant meaning. In a country where Muslims are the majority, the sight of a Muslim leader witnessing a Christian-related phenomenon sent a powerful message of unity. Nasser ordered the government to assist in crowd management, setting up security barriers and ensuring public safety. He also allowed the press to report widely, though he requested neutrality. Under his direction, the Egyptian government even supported the construction of infrastructure, such as roads and parking lots, to accommodate the growing number of pilgrims. The Coptic Church, led by Patriarch Kyrillos VI, also took swift action. An official investigation committee was formed, consisting of priests, theologians, and experts. After months of review, the committee concluded that this was a true miracle of the Virgin Mary. Notably, while the Egyptian government did not officially recognize it as a miracle, it did not oppose the Church's declaration. This rare cooperation between the government and the Church bolstered the event's credibility in the public eye. The events in Zeitoun were not just about light and a figure. They also sparked a series of remarkable occurrences that added to the allure of this miracle. Hundreds of healing miracles were documented. One of the most famous cases was that of Mona, a 19-year-old girl with leukemia. Her family, who were Muslim, brought her to Zeitoun in May 1968 to pray. After a night standing beneath the dome, Mona said she felt a warm light flowing through her body. Subsequent medical tests revealed that her tumor had completely disappeared. Mona's story was widely reported by the Egyptian press, inspiring thousands of others to flock to Zeitoun in hopes of being healed. One of the most beautiful aspects of the Zeitoun events was the unity between religions. Muslims and Christians, who sometimes experienced tensions, stood side by side to pray. A local Muslim imam once said, "Maryam is the mother of us all. Her appearance is a sign of peace." The event helped ease religious tensions and strengthened the spirit of national unity. International media rushed to Zeitoun. Major outlets like BBC, The New York Times, and Le Figaro sent reporters to the scene. Photos of the Virgin Mary's figure, though low in quality, were published worldwide. A short film, recorded on an 8mm camera, showing the radiant light and the fervent crowd, was broadcast on international television channels. Books, articles, and documentaries about Zeitoun were published globally, with Our Lady of Zeitoun by Pearl Zaki becoming a classic. Despite being witnessed by thousands, the Zeitoun events remained controversial. Some scientists argued that the light could be due to atmospheric refraction or fog. Others suspected the Coptic Church had orchestrated it for attention. However, investigations by both the government and the Church found no evidence of fraud. A renowned lighting engineer at the time, after inspecting the site, declared, "No technology in 1968 could produce such a light." More than 50 years later, the story of Our Lady of Zeitoun remains one of the most talked about supernatural events in history. On social media platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, videos recounting the event garner millions of views, with hashtags like #ZeitounMiracle and #Our Lady of Zeitoun. The St. Mary Church in Zeitoun continues to be a significant pilgrimage site, where thousands come to pray, seek healing, and feel the lingering sacred presence. As I recount this story, I feel my heart beating with emotion. From the 2 Muslim mechanics who happened to witness the light, to the thousands of people gathered beneath the dome, and even President Nasser standing silently in the crowd, this is a miracle that transcends time. I invite you to share this story. Tell your friends and family, or share it on social media, about the fateful night in Zeitoun, the 2 Muslims who sparked a miracle, President Nasser's awe before the divine light, and how a small suburb captured the world's attention. You can learn more through videos on YouTube, read Our Lady of Zeitoun by Pearl Zaki, or if you have the chance, visit the St. Mary Church in Zeitoun to experience the sacredness that still lingers there.